Ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
On this week's special edition from Nashville, we bring you a day in the life of newly elected NCBA President Bob McCan. Plus, highlights from this year's Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show.
And now, NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman with host Kevin Oxner.
Hello and welcome to NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. I'm Kevin Oxner. Thanks for joining us as we bring you more of our special coverage from the 2014 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Nashville, Tennessee. It was a record trade show here in Nashville and a big crowd. We talked with a number of cattlemen and women from across the country to ask them why they value coming to the convention.
Anybody that's in the beef business, raising cattle, ought to be right here at Nashville, Tennessee, to see one of the largest gatherings in the beef industry, see the most advanced ideas, and meet lots of friends from doing the same thing that you are, raising beef.
As a young producer, I'm excited to be here and network with the folks that have a lot more experience and a lot more expertise than I do, and really talk to them and pick their brains about what's going on in the industry and what they see, just so I can learn from them.
Well, I think it's extremely important to attend this convention because if you have skin in the game, if you're in the cattle business, you need to come where the decisions are made. You need to be part of the association, part of the organization, part of the solution, and come here and let your voice be heard.
I'm here at the 2014 convention to check and see how I can make my herd management a little bit more profitable. And I want to know all the trends, and this is the place to go.
You need to know what's going on out there, both from the standpoint of the political arena, which we do an outstanding job, in my opinion, from the NCBA. And you need to know the newest feeds, the newest vaccinations, the newest programs. And this is where you will find out, either attending the meetings or attending the trade show and talking to the people.
I think for the cattle business, you need to be here because you learn a lot and you meet a lot of people, and it's good networking.
There's always something new, always something that might help our operation or make our lives a little easier out there for what we do.
Why not join us for the 2015 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show in San Antonio, Texas? Mark your calendars for next February 4th through the 7th in sizzling hot San Antonio. Details at beefusa.org. And joining me now is Colin Woodall, Vice President of Government Affairs for NCBA. Colin, thanks for joining us today.
Kevin, good to be with you.
You know, there are always a number of issues impacting our industry there in D.C. I'm interested, what are some of the issues you hear congressmen talking about right now?
Well, we spent a lot of time talking about the Farm Bill here over the past several years, but especially this past month. I think one of the biggest issues we've been engaged in here in 2014 has been the finalization of the federal budget. First time in over a decade that Congress has actually passed a budget, and we finally got an omnibus appropriations bill. It's important for several reasons. One, it brings back a lot of the market data reports that the Ag Marketing Service puts together. It makes sure that we don't have to worry about a furlough of federal meat inspectors this year like we did last year. So getting that done is really a good thing for all involved, and more importantly, to finally have the U.S. Congress focus on getting a budget is a step in the right direction. We hope that they will continue to build on that here in the next couple of years.
At least some action. And how about the regulatory agencies? We hear a lot about that over time. What are you hearing from them?
Well, we've got a lot of challenges with the regulatory agencies, and I think we're going to have several fights here in 2014. Of course, one of the ones we've been talking about for quite some time is the expected fight on waters of the United States with the EPA, specifically how they want to remove the term navigable on what they consider is theirs as jurisdiction. If they do that, they're going to open up to really every body of water that's out there, whether it's a stream, an in-ground stock tank, anything that holds water, they could claim jurisdiction on. It would absolutely just change the face of agriculture. So we are working really hard to make sure that rule does not move forward, making sure that we utilize our friends in Congress to try to defund those activities if it does move forward. And of course, This is a fall on the sword issue for NCBA. So if it does pick up some steam, we're going to have to take them to court eventually. And then one of the other big challenges is making sure that we are engaged in the dietary guidelines.
Right.
They are being reauthorized here in 2015, so they've already started that process. So we've got about a year to engage to make sure that USDA comes out and says that steak is going to stay in the middle of the plate.
Absolutely. Speaking of fights, you all put up a strong fight in this whole farm bill debate. How'd that finally end?
You know, the Farm Bill was not good for cattle producers, plain and simple. Our top priorities, which was fixing country of origin labeling and the GIPSA rule, were not included at the end of the day. Now, there's some good things in the Farm Bill. We have a permanent disaster relief program in place for the first time ever, making it permanent, which is nice. We also have some strong conservation provisions that have been included, but ultimately, we needed to make sure that we fixed cool. Because right now, Canada and Mexico have a WTO case against us. If we don't fix country of origin labeling, then they will ultimately be able to retaliate against us. They are two of our top 5 markets for the export of U.S. beef. So if they retaliate against us, it's going to be a negative impact across the board here in the United States.
And certainly, we talk a lot about what $275, $280 a head value that's brought to us from a trading standpoint. Tell us what you see on the trade front.
Yeah, trade's extremely important for our industry. As you mentioned, when you look at the value on basically taking our carcass and maximizing that value.
Absolutely.
Making sure that we send the parts that we don't necessarily eat here in the United States overseas to people who really want them. A lot of great things really on the trade front. We are trying to finalize the Trans-Pacific Partnership, which would open up more markets in the Asian Pacific Rim. And then, of course, really one of the big focuses for us is the Transatlantic Partnership that is going to follow TPP. And it's going to be a great opportunity to really talk with the European Union about some of the non-tariff trade barriers, like the ban on our use of hormones, for example, to really see if they're willing to take those down in order to have meaningful trade between our countries.
You know, you've always said that you can always use a louder voice in Washington, D.C. How can cattlemen and cattlewomen get involved and help you on that front?
Well, first of all, you got to join NCBA. If you're watching this right now and you're not a member, pick up the phone and join, because there are just fewer and fewer of us involved in the cattle industry. And so we've got to make sure that we're speaking together with one voice. But more importantly, get involved in the process. Come to convention. Help us make our policy. That's what we take to Washington, D.C. and then implement in our dealings with Capitol Hill. And finally, you've got to call your members of Congress. They want to hear from you. They really do. Every time we go into an office and we talk about our position, the member of Congress or staff will always say, well, where are my cattle producers back home? They want to know. So they're willing to take your phone call or hear your emails or take your emails. But basically, get involved. That is the bottom line.
It's great advice, and I know you've got a lot of work ahead. Thanks for coming.
Thank you, Kevin.
You can join the fight by becoming a member of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. Joining is easy. Just give us a call at 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us online at beefusa.org. The job of serving as the volunteer leader of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association is a big one. The new NCBA president is Bob McCan of Victoria, Texas. Let's learn a little more about Bob and his family ranch in South Texas.
It's just before dawn in South Texas, and Bob McCan is saddling his horse in the early morning fog and preparing to move some cattle with his crew. Bob oversees the cattle and the hunting and wildlife operations for his family's company, McFadden Enterprises.
My great-great-grandfather founded this ranch in 1877. He put the property together. And so I am fifth generation of our family to manage the ranch. It's a very unique operation here in that we operate on about 3 different counties. We have 2 ranches here in Victoria County that are what you would call the coastal plains, and we have another ranch south of here that's a lease ranch that our family has leased since 1932. We're pretty far south down here as far as the United States goes, so we've been able to make it work for a long time.
McFadden Enterprises includes combined acreage that can support anywhere from 3,000 to 5,000 head depending on rainfall and forage availability. The ranches are stocked with commercial crossbred cattle.
My grandfather started our particular breed of the Brayford cattle, which is a 3/4 Hereford, 1/4 Brahman, crossing Hereford bulls on Brahman cows. So the 3/4, 1/4 breed was what we found to be the, kind of the best cross for our part of the country here. And as you can see, our cows really look a lot like a Hereford animal. And and have a lot of the Boss Taurus qualities about them.
Bob studied range science, so properly managing brush and all of his ranch's resources has always been a priority, and one of the main reasons McFadden Enterprises has been able to stay in business for so long.
We've seen our cattle operation really grow and improve because of the improvements that we've invested in for the ranch. I want this place to be in as good a condition as I can leave it for the next generation, for my children, for my cousin's children, our family's operation. And if it's in good condition, if it's a productive environment, it's going to be a profitable environment.
Beef industry advocacy is not new to the McCan family. They've been leaders in the Texas cattle industry for several generations, and Bob is a past president of the Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers Association. But the role of president of NCBA offers a different challenge as Bob gets a chance to represent cattlemen at the national level.
My grandfather served as president of the Texas and Southwestern Cattle Raisers, as did his uncle, my great uncle, and my father was a director in that organization, and I served as president of that organization about 10 years ago, and kind of during that time is when I got involved with National Cattlemen's. It's been really humbling to be able to kind of follow up in my family's footsteps in that regard, and you know, I kind of grew up in that environment, going to a lot of the cattlemen's meetings, and so it was kind of a natural progression for me. And so I've really enjoyed a lot of the advocacy work and working with the different committees and just kind of having dialogue with different cattlemen around the country is really been enjoyable for me. It's a great honor for me, and it's a great honor for my family, and to be involved with an organization like NCBA that has just wonderful people involved.
Bob and his wife Julie have 2 children, Robert and Mary, and that family support will be critical. As NCBA president, Bob expects to spend as many as 300 days on the road, visiting with his fellow cattlemen and women.
It's a big treat for me to go out to these state affiliates and be able to visit with cattlemen in different parts of the country, kind of see how they run their operations, and I feel it's given me a whole lot better outlook on what the needs are of our cattle industry going forward. I'm really thankful that, you know, I have some family here that will help out. Although my son is still in college, he's down a lot. My father is still around. He's 83 years old, but he still keeps a pretty good eagle eye on what's going on at the operation. And I've got some good help working for me. You know, with the communication technology we have today and cell phones and computers and things, I think it's certainly something we can strive to get done.
Bob's knowledge of the cattle industry both in the U.S. and internationally will be a huge advantage as cattle producers look to open up more foreign markets for U.S. beef.
We're enjoying some really good markets right now, and we hope to see that continue. But, you know, a lot of what's driving some of the good market we're having right now is our international market. And I think we've got great opportunities ahead of us with opening some new markets. We've got some really good markets open right now that are growing, and you know, there's a lot of consumers of our product that live outside of this country. So we need to continue to focus on that. I think that's a great opportunity for us.
Bob is also passionate about helping young producers get started in the industry, and he knows the value of getting them involved in organizations like NCBA at an early age.
Those people have a lot of energy. They got a lot of passion for this industry. They've got some great ideas, and we need to make sure that we give them the opportunity to be able to be part of everything we do, I think, at NCBA. And they are the generation that are going to be able to relate to a lot of our consumers, possibly better than some of us older guys can. Plus, we need to have those people coming back into the industry, into our business. And whether it's our own children or someone else's children, it's important that we get young people coming back into the cattle industry.
Bob feels good about NCBA's place in the beef industry. He's a believer in the value of cattlemen joining together and knows that NCBA can play an important role in unifying the industry.
It's a great opportunity to be able to have dialogue with fellow cattlemen and be able to formulate policies that we as cattlemen can come together and agree upon as the best pathway forward for our industry. I've always felt that cattle industry is always going to have a tremendous amount of challenges, has forever and ever, but there's always going to be a lot of opportunities there. And the opportunities will be different through the years, but I see this in the next few years as us having a lot of opportunity. And if we can overcome our challenges, I think we've got a great future ahead of us.
Still ahead on NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman.
We're a family ranching operation, goes back to 1876 when my great-grandfather first came to this country.
We'll introduce you to the national winner of the Environmental Stewardship Award. Plus, we'll have more highlights from the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show in Nashville. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
You're watching the award-winning NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman on RFD TV.
This business can take time away and become more of your family than your actual family. My days were tough. I had a lot of doctoring, a lot of pulling. Now our days on the feed yard are happy days. It's more about looking at the cattle and enjoying what we're producing versus the alternative, which is pull and treat and bang our head against the wall. We have never wavered from Draxon. We've seen the benefits just keep getting better and better.
Well, I think a rancher has to be a steward of the land. There's nobody else that can take care of the land better than a rancher. When we switched over to the Purina products, it was a step in the right direction.
The difference we see in the cattle is the consistency of their nutrition.
The cattle hold their condition a lot better throughout the whole year.
It does make a difference that we can see, day in and day out.
Joining me now is Richard Gebhardt, the chairman of NCBA's Federation Division. Now, Richard, you're the chair of the Federation Division. Why don't you tell folks a little bit about what that job entails?
You know, Kevin, I think the key is to look at the title. And everyone knows what a chair is, but the key word in there is federation. And that's all about collaborating, coordinating, and everything. The other thing I work a lot with is in the operating committee, which kind of allocates part of the checkoff dollars with my counterpart, Weldon Wynn, who is the chairman of the Cattlemen's Beef Board. But I would tell you the chairman is all about building and strengthening that state and national partnership.
And when we send in our dollar from selling the cattle, tell us again, how is that dollar split?
That's one of the keys to the success of the checkoff, because, you know, we leave 50 cents, half of it, down there with those state beef councils, and they have complete authority over that 50 cents. The other 50 cents comes up into the Beef Promotion Operating Committee to be allocated for more broad-reaching national programs. But the states have complete autonomy over that 50 cents. They can spend it into export markets, they can send it up to the Federation, and the Federation Executive Committee can decide to set it over there in the Operating Committee. There's a lot of flexibility with that 50 cents at the state, and that's one of the things I'm most proud of, is that local producer control of that half of that dollar.
You know, a moment ago you mentioned the state and national partnership. I hear a lot of people talking about that. Scott George talked about that yesterday. Why do you think that's so important?
I think it is, and I mean, sometimes we let those words flow off our lips too quickly, and we've got to make sure we always reach down to those producers and listen to them. You know, there's 750,000 of them out there. That is a big group to try to coordinate and listen to. So it's just imperative that we try to keep our ears down there with the cowboys and cattle women on the ground.
What some people may not be familiar with is that you all have had a new committee structure in place for about a year now. Tell us a little bit more about that and how that's working.
You know, that committee structure, first time we probably changed the committee structure in decades, I would say, and there was some growing pains in it. I'm most proud of the continuous improvement effort. We gave the committees, we listened to their feedback, and we'll listen to their feedback again at this convention, and made some improvements in that structure. But the big difference is it's directly tied to the demand drivers for beef. So it's not a silo effect. It's trying to reach out and touch those very important demand drivers.
And you've also done a few other things relative to changing how some of those funds are raised, right?
Yeah, well, you know, when we looked in the operating committee and we looked at an ever-increasing population in the world for us to influence and a declining checkoff dollar, we thought it was important that we reach out there and make sure our strategy is right. And that's been about a 2 or 3 year process to look at this. And in this 50th year anniversary of the Federation of State Beef Councils, one of the things I'm most proud of the producers coming together is deciding on a change in the strategic direction, focusing on the millennial generation, and deciding to focus on just one means of several to deliver the message to them with a digital type approach. And most importantly, we are getting better at being data-driven in our resource allocation.
Very good. Well, congratulations on this 50th year celebration. More importantly, thank you for all you do to spend our money wisely and maintain that strong state-national partnership.
Well, you're welcome. And I want to tell you something. When I sit in Claremore, Oklahoma, it's great to watch this show.
Thank you, Richard. Please join Richard as a member of NCBA. Just give us a call at 1-866-USA-BEEF or visit us online at beefusa.org. We'll be back with more from Nashville right after this.
Its arrival is as routine as the truck that brings the next load of calves. You stand ready, waiting, watching for symptoms. A revolutionary new weapon in hand. Unique chemistry and hard-hitting active ingredient. Longer duration in the respiratory tract. Rapid absorption. Join the Zaprevolution. Zaprevo, Tilda-Pearson. See your veterinarian.
We don't sit idle, wondering how we're going to build a better truck. We get out there and walk a mile, thousands of miles, in the footsteps of the guys we build trucks for. The groundbreaking Ram Heavy Duty, with 30,000 pounds of towing and 850 pound-feet of torque.
To stay up to date on beef industry news and the National Cattlemen's Beef Association, check out beefusa.org. You'll find news on both the Federation of State Beef Councils and the work of NCBA on Capitol Hill. Plus, link to NCBA programs like the blog, Beltway Beef, updates on the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, and the latest from NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Connect today at beefusa.org.
I'm here with the 2013 National Environmental Stewardship Award recipients, the Price Ranch of Sterling City, Texas. We have Frank and Ginger, Sims and Krista here with us tonight, and I just ask you, Frank, what, a 4th and 5th generation ranch there in Texas, what does it feel like not only for you but for your forefathers that the Price Ranch has won this award?
It's the most exciting thing that's ever happened to me as far as grazing management and whatnot, and we're so excited to be at a level with some of these folks. The regional winners we've been with the last couple of days, I can't wait to go see their places because they're all really good at what they do, and it's really exciting to be at the level with them.
Absolutely. And Sims, I guess I would ask you, what would you want other people to know about what you've had to do in spite of a severe drought and lots of other challenges to achieve this award?
Again, straight honor just to be in this title, to have it. Also, it takes perseverance. It took a family, strong family, to continue to push through it and to continue on.
That's outstanding. Anything that you would suggest to folks that might be sitting at home wondering if they should apply or should nominate somebody for this award?
Well, I never considered our family eligible for this award. A lot of people do a lot of really good things for the land and on the land and continuing on for the next generation and all. And so there's lots of people out there very deserving of this award.
Very good. Again, the 2013 Environmental Stewardship Award recipients, the Price Ranch of Sterling City, Texas.
Just after sunup, Frank and Sims Price are working side by side to move their cows. The father and son represent the fourth and fifth generations on the Price Ranch. That includes nearly 70,000 acres spread across 4 counties in West Texas.
We're a family ranching operation, goes back to 1876 when my great-grandfather first came to this country. You know, it's rare that families these days get to continue an operation and have the opportunity to work with their son.
Knowing the fact that it has been passed down for so many generations, it just gives you that extra drive to always see things through and through the hard times and the droughts and everything else. Gives you a sense that you have to keep going.
Today, the Price family gains income from hunting leases, a purebred sheep herd, and their primary focus, a cow-calf operation with 11 grazing units, managing each one so there is rarely a need for supplemental feeding of the cows.
You take feed out of the picture and you've reduced your labor, you've reduced your equipment costs, fuel costs, and we're able with our grazing program for the cattle to respond very well to that. We adjusted our calving season to where we're working with nature better.
We treat it like a business. It makes us look at the land. The land is our inventory. We have to tend to the land and tend to the grass and grow grass in order for it to allow us to make a profit on the cattle. Without taking care of the land, we're going nowhere.
Drought and wildfire have devastated much of the Price Ranch in recent years. One key to sustaining the business is their single herd grazing program that results in many pastures getting 120 days or more of rest. Frank creates detailed grazing charts to guide the movement of the cattle.
He has really figured out what works for our operation as far as moving cattle, when to move them, and being able to read the land and tell if what we're doing is right or if what we're doing is wrong and how to adjust to that, if we need to destock, if we need to move faster.
He is one of the best grazing managers that I know of. And in terms of how he rotates, he thinks about where they're going to go next and he puts it into the whole package.
It's wonderful that we're able to have the grazing program we have, see the land respond, improving our grasses and the cover on the ground, and able to utilize small range better and be able to show a profit while we're doing that. That's a neat trick in my book.
Another key to improving grasses on the Price Ranch is brush control, often done in partnership with NRCS, using prescribed burns and mechanical and chemical methods of removing mesquite and other invasive species.
Without the NRCS, we would be covered up in brush. The NRCS helps make this a profitable business in the fact that they help us with the brush work.
We generally like to use a mechanical treatment. That way we can take out the trees we don't like and leave the bigger, prettier trees, end up with a kind of a savanna effect.
They understand the value of grass. They understand that their sustainability is in grass production, not necessarily in livestock production. I think they view livestock as a tool. It's an important tool to them, but a tool to harvest the forage that they're growing.
For Frank and Sims, the work of caring for their land is never ending. Miles of fencing had to be rebuilt after wildfires, and the Prices have extended the reach of their water systems, in many cases recycling large rubber tires as water tanks. From brush control to grazing management, their efforts have improved the land for both cattle and wildlife.
And I think the Price ranches have served as an example of how they can take these properties and configure a strategy that is well suited to both the livestock and the wildlife needs.
You know, I believe that a true conservationist is a person who has the ability to utilize a ranch like this and make a living from it, that it's economically working, but at the same time they can manage it so that they are sustaining or improving their natural resources. And Frank and Sims have found that balance.
With a focus on following their budget and business plan, the future of Price Ranch looks secure. Frank and Sims are working together to build on the family legacy of stewardship.
I'm proud of the fact that my father, a fourth-generation rancher, has stuck through the hard times. He's taught me to stick through the hard times. I'm continuing to learn, and without his perseverance and dedication to this ranch, we wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be allowed to be coming back here to work on it. And I pray that I can carry that on to my children someday.
It's a moving target, but working with that land and trying to make it better for the next generation, that should be our goal in life.
To learn more about the Environmental Stewardship Award winners and how to apply for the 2014 award, just visit the website environmentalstewardship.org. We'll be back with more from Nashville right after this.
The new Speed Rower Series self-propelled windrowers are smart for the way you cut hay or swath grain. The Speed Rower gives you superior luxury with the Comfort Ride cab and patented rear axle suspension. Combine this with New Holland's IntelliSteer auto guidance system to maximize operator ease and efficiency. Looking for more speed? New Holland's new high-speed transport option gives you road speeds up to 24 miles an hour, so you spend less time on the road and more time cutting crop. Visit your New Holland dealer to learn more about the complete lineup of New Holland equipment, in addition to all of the benefits available to cattle producers.
Hello, I'm Kevin Ochsner, host of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Each week, we travel the country to bring you the latest cattle industry news and information. Check us out at cattlemantocattleman.org or on Facebook and Twitter. We're here at the AgriLabs booth talking with Steve Schramm and Randy Tosh about some exciting new technologies, specifically the vet gun and vet caps. And I guess, Steve, let's begin with you. Just tell us a little bit about this technology.
Kevin, this has been a 3-year test market with our partners at Smart Vet, and we've really fine-tuned the device itself and the vet cap system that now we can bring an insecticide control product to beef producers that are really needed in today's environment.
That's really neat. And Randy, I know there's a lot of scientific research that went into developing this technology. Maybe give us some of the background.
Well, we put a lot of thought into both the development of the encapsulated vet cap and into the gun itself. And as Steve suggested, this is a precision tool that we know farmers and ranchers can use to eventually deliver a whole range of animal health products to their herd and do it in a very efficient and effective way. A lot of our technology resides in the soft gel encapsulation for the vet cap, which we'll be demonstrating here at the NCBA show this week.
And Steve, maybe tell folks what, in your opinion, are some of the biggest benefits, not only to the animal, but also to the producer in this technology.
Yes, Kevin, up until today, cattle producers have had very good tools to use for fly control and insect control and parasite control. But what's different today with the vet cap is you can actually time when you actually need to use a product for fly controls. Many times producers will pour their cattle in the spring before they let them out to pasture. Well, now you can actually time when you need to apply an insecticide for fly control. But the biggest benefit, other than just the timing of it, is the economic return. When you think about how much the horn flies have an economic problem with producers, reducing anywhere from 15 to 30% of the weight gain over an 80-day period on pasture. So with the vet cap and vet gun system with the AML product, one treatment for 5 to 6 weeks control will get you a 10 to 1 return. So for a $3 investment roughly, you'll get a $30 return on your investment, and that's going to be key in today's cattle prices.
Yeah, with the feeder and cattle prices what they are today, that seems like a minor investment to manage your cattle correctly. I'd love to take a look and see how that works. Do you have a second? Absolutely. Let's give it a shot. Well, Randy, tell me first of all about the product and specifically how you prepare to use the product.
Okay. The vet gun's designed to be very simple. The only thing that the producer has to do once he takes the vet gun out of the box is to put the CO2 canister in place. That's very easily done, and we're offering CO2 in several sizes so that depending on the number of animals to be treated, producer can select the size of CO2 that works best for them. We have both a pre-filled and we have a refillable CO2 canister that we use. Now, it's really easy to load the vet gun, and one of the great things about this, even that there's no risk to the producer in handling our encapsulated product, we wanted to avoid that if all possible. So the product will come to the producer in a 30-count pack like this. This is just one retail offering. Inside are the 6 individual sleeves of 5 capsules. If you're out on horseback or an ATV with your cattle, the last thing we want people to do is have to fumble with product, or to, even more importantly, lose product. So all you have to do is take the end off of a single sleeve of product and just simply let it roll into the feeder tube of the vet gun. The feeder tube itself will hold 3 sleeves of product, so 15 count of AMAL vet caps. Once we're all gassed up, as this gun is, all we have to do is take the safety off, and obviously we recommend that you use gloves and protective eyewear at all times. The distance of about 15 or up to 30 feet away from an animal. Cattle that have typically been offered hay or cake or something so that they're preoccupied with that, we do recommend that we dry fire the vet gun a few times just to acclimate the herd to the sound of the vet gun itself. But as you'll hear from the demonstration, the vet gun is not loud. So if you're ready,
let's give it a shot.
Okay. At about this distance, we'll want to apply this product near the shoulder region of the animal, which is where the hornfly burden sits, and so we get immediate knockdown and control in that way.
Wow, that's amazing.
And that's instant relief for the cattle. And cattle, as you can tell, would not be adversely affected either by the sound of the vet gun or by the impact of being struck by one of the capsules. It's probably one of the most humane ways that we can offer fly control to cattle.
Humane, labor-saving, and it sounds to me like a profit-making technology.
Absolutely, Kevin.
To find out more about AgriLabs and view video replays of our program, visit our website. That's cattlemantocattleman.org. We'll have more from Nashville after this. Stay with us.
This isn't a job, it's a calling. Your hard work helps feed the world. Being linked to those who care for the land is our calling. For more than 175 years, John Deere has been a proud partner of the cattle business. That's why we bring you special NCBA member discounts, so you can get the right equipment, strong, rugged, versatile, and ready to work hard. Talk to your John Deere dealer to learn more about your NCBA member discounts. John Deere, committed to the land, committed to your success.
Want to help elect officials who understand the needs of the cattle industry? Then visit beefusa.org and check out the NCBA Political Action Committee online auction page. There, NCBA members can view and bid on a wide variety of exciting travel and merchandise, and the funds go to support NCBA's work in Washington, D.C. You must be a member to contribute to NCBA PAC, so don't wait. Join today.
Merck Animal Health has a big presence at the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show, and they always have some exciting things to talk about. I'm joined now by Dr. Rick Sibyl. He's the Director of U.S. Cattle Technical Services for Merck Animal Health. Dr. Sibyl, it's good to have you back on the show.
Thank you, Kevin.
You know, we talk about the value of these weaned calves, and it's always painful to lose them, but even more painful when we're talking about $1.75 or $2 a pound. What recommendations do you have to keep these calves healthy?
Kevin, we have conversations with our producers on a frequent basis, and their veterinarian as well, and we are absolutely convinced that there's lots of ways to make a difference at weaning. One of the things that we recommend is to vaccinate that calf while it's on mama cow, put that calf back with mama cow, turn them back to pasture or grass or whatever you're feeding them for a couple of weeks. That helps the vaccine sort of get better and helps the calf sort of transition. If you choose to wean the calves, we recommend weaning them on the ranch or farm, keeping them there for 30 days or so, let them get adjusted to being without mama, the new rations, all those kinds of things. Because we all know that if you wean them, put them on a truck, send them somewhere, it's probably not the best way to manage health.
Yeah, it really is a combination of management and good vaccination protocols.
Absolutely, and we work really hard to try and get the balance right.
So let's talk about some of the products. You guys have been busy introducing some new products since last year's NCBA convention. You want to highlight a couple of those?
Sure. We have a brand new intranasally delivered bacterial vaccine for Pasteurella and Mannheimia. Now, the industry has been vaccinating for Pasteurella and Mannheimia for a while, but they've been giving it in products under the skin. This vaccine is given in the nose. It's far, far less stressful. It reduces a significant amount of the post-vaccination stress that occurs. And at the end of the day, we're really excited about this because this is a brand new category for a bug that's been a big deal in the cattle industry for a while.
You know, a lot of folks can get a lot of good information from your booth here at the convention about all your products. What they may not know are all the things that you're doing with and for the industry outside those products. Can you tell us a few?
Sure, I'm happy to do that. Yes, there's lots of things that are untraditional in the animal health world that we're spending a bit of time on. We've invested heavily in some diagnostic services from more than one university over the last year and a half. So that enhanced diagnostic services is going to serve the industry well. We're really big into the youth support programs. And so we just recently, in fact, I just recently was the keynote speaker at the National 4-H Agri Summit Conference in DC. Get to connect with a lot of young minds that sort of are going to make a difference in our ag business. And so the other thing that we like to do frequently is we like to sort of talk to the producers about the importance of telling their story. So lots of our people are having conversations with producers and veterinarians talking about all the wonderful stories in agriculture, but we are responsible for telling our story to the people that need to understand agriculture. And we're doing a lot of that, a lot more than I would have expected even 10 years ago.
It's amazing. Well, that's wonderful stuff, and we appreciate all the great products, but in addition to that, the great stewardship you bring to the industry.
Thank you. My pleasure, Kevin.
Thanks, Dr. Zimmel. To learn more about Merck Animal Health and the many products they offer, just visit their website. That's merck-animal-health-usa.com. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Both here, 210.11. I'm at 210.11. Yes! Joe. Todd, how'd you do? Oh, not bad.
See what you have to gain at thelongrangelook.com.
To ensure your seeds become strong stands, give your soil the right preparation before you plant. Improve your growing environment with agronomically designed equipment from Case IH, like the new Ecolo Tiger 875 disc ripper, engineered to manage tough residues and shatter root-limiting compaction for improved nutrient uptake and better stands with more fully developed plants at harvest. The world of farming is changing. Will you be ready? Learn more at caseih.com.
Join your fellow cattlemen in sizzling hot San Antonio for the 2015 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show. It's the beef industry's biggest convention, and it's great for education, networking, and fun. Plus, you can check out the NCBA Trade Show for the latest technology. It's the 2015 Cattle Industry Annual Convention and NCBA Trade Show in sizzling hot San Antonio, Texas, February 4 through 7. Visit beefusa.org for more.
So what do you care if your cattle are source and age verified? Better yet, do you think the housewife cares? Well, 70% of consumers surveyed want to know where their food comes from. So where do you start? With this little green ear tag. IMI Global's the seal of approval that stands behind the beef you produced. IMI is engaged in source and age verification from the cowman to the kitchen table. So if you're ready to start, just ask us. IMIGlobal.com.
Let's face it, you don't think a lot about your trailer hitch. You use it and forget it. We understand. But at B&W, we think about it. Short nights, long hauls, never-ending chores. The unthinkable. We think about it all, so you don't have to. B&W. Trusted.
Can you imagine a world without cows? In the last 5 centuries, the domestic bovine has moved itself into virtually every county in the Western Hemisphere. But for the sake of our initial question, a world without cows, say we had been conquered by marauding Latvians, or Amazonian dart blowers, or a powerful vegetarian brokerage firm in Fiji who did not bring cattle into the country. Well, my first observation is there would be no Big Macs. beef, milk, and cheese would not be available in abundance, would we try and domesticate deer or buffalo or elk or wild goats? Would we be hearing, pork, it's what's for dinner? Or where's the mutton? Or goat, the other white meat? Got okra? I'll have some certified Angus drumstick. Well, I'll have a fungus burger with shredded styrofoam and a side of those thistle poppers. Does your horse meat pudding come with splash guards? I'll have some cold mutton gravy with hair in it. I'm assuming goat milk would become the drink of choice. Chicken would become the biggest source of animal protein unless we were able to tame sperm whales. Shetland pony tenderloin would be served at good steakhouses, and our eating habits would become boring to many Epicureans. They'd be yearning for a big, juicy, succulent, mouth-watering, medium rare, right off the grill. What? Gizzard? Camel hump? Dog leg? Cornish hamster? We'd be importing insulin made from yak pancreas. Leather upholstery, boots, and baseballs would all be made of Naga hide. Roy Rogers would have stayed in Iowa and become the soybean balladeer. Trevor Brazil would become a professional golfer, and I would be a former reptile veterinarian and swineherd poet. Ode to the pig, who brings us ribs and pork. Oh, how I long to trade my ham for sirloin on a fork. This is Baxter Black on Mount There.
It's always great to hear from and visit with our good friend Baxter Black. Don't go away. We'll be back with more from Nashville right after this. Stay with us.
This is yours, and so is what grows there. Not theirs or theirs, yours. You need this to fight this and this to grow more this. Because the more of this you feed them, the less this you spend on that, which leaves more of this here. Don't let them take this from you. Chaparral takes care of weeds and brush, and that's that.
Don't miss the 2014 NCBA Legislative Conference in Washington, D.C. It's your opportunity to meet with key congressional and federal agency influencers and to let them know where cattlemen and women stand on critical issues that impact the cattle business and our way of life. Make plans to be in Washington, D.C. April 8th through the 10th for the 2014 NCBA Legislative Conference. Together, we can do more. Details at beefusa.org.
Welcome back. There were lots of winners here at the Cattle Industry Convention in Nashville, but one young lady stood out with an outstanding singing talent. Cattleman to Cattleman reporter Russell Nemitz had a chance to visit with her.
Well, as we continue our coverage from the 2014 Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show here in Nashville, Tennessee, we're at one of the general sessions, and Miss Riley Worth from Ellis, Kansas just rocked the place in front of thousands and thousands of people. Riley, you just sang the national anthem here at the Cattle Industry Convention. Talk about that experience out there on the stage just a few minutes ago.
Well, it was exciting that I got to sing in front of thousands of people, and I'm happy that I have the ability to sing and the gift to sing.
Now, when did you start deciding you kind of like to sing in front of people and decided to sign up for this competition that the NCBA had to be able to sing the national anthem here at the Cattle Industry Convention?
Well, when I was little, I always sang at church and at the racetracks and stuff, and so we decided that I should maybe try to do some contests and stuff, and so then we signed up for this one, and then we made it, and it was really exciting.
Yeah, I was going to say, there was quite a few people that signed up for this opportunity, Riley. When you found out you had been selected, talk about that experience.
Well, I was really excited when I found out that that I won, because there was like thousands of people that tried out, and for me to be only 12 and to make it, it was just exciting.
All right, so you were telling me that you're in 6th grade and you're 12 years old, and you come from a farm and ranch. Talk about how the ag industry plays a role as a 12-year-old with some of your classmates, and why you like farming and ranching so much.
Well, I get to show cattle and cattle and pigs, and so that gets to kind of spreads the word about me. Like we go to state fair and stuff, and we show there, and so I've been able to sing at some of those places.
So do you have any future aspirations when it comes to singing beyond what you're doing right now?
Not really. I just kind of wanna get through junior high and high school and see where it goes after that.
Hey, you did a fantastic job out there. Give me 5. Ladies and gentlemen, Riley Worth from Ellis, Kansas, who just rocked the house here at the Gaylord Opryland Hotel with her national anthem rendition at one of the general sessions. Reporting for Cattleman to Cattleman, I'm Russell Nemitz.
Thanks, Russell. A reminder, the Cattle Industry Convention and NCBA Trade Show is set for next February 4th through the 7th, 2015, in sizzling hot San Antonio, Texas. You can find out more at beefusa.org. Next week, we'll have more from Nashville. We'll visit with Captain Richard Phillips, and we'll have another visit with our good friend Baxter Black. Well, that wraps up this week's edition of NCBA's Cattleman to Cattleman. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you right back here next week on RFD TV.